Hey, it's Marthea Pitts, the MSW coach. And I am going live to talk about the first step to macro job searching. And the reason I want to have this conversation today is because I literally just ended recording a podcast episode with one of my coaching clients from the Micro to Macro Career Accelerator. And we were talking about her win of being inside of the accelerator, which was career clarity. And for those who are new to my platform, normally when I bring on a coaching client from the Micro to Macro Career Accelerator, one of the cohorts, is usually because they got a macro job offer. So like if you go and click the link in my bio, hey, how y'all doing? If you go in and click the link in my bio, it'll take you to like a full playlist of all of the testimonials from my coaching clients. And there's quite a few there to keep you busy for a while, right? And everyone that comes on is because they got a macro job offer. However, with this coaching client, I wanted to bring her on to talk about some of the other wins that my coaching clients get, which is job offers is one, but a lot of people everyone increases their confidence to go after what we call the scary jobs. I have coaching clients who get macro job interview after interview, right? But by the time the completion of the accelerator, it may have not yet resulted in a job offer, but they're getting interviews for jobs they never thought they could even qualify for. I have people who are getting job offers. I have people who are getting their second, third, fourth, fifth macro job as a result of being inside of the accelerator. So wins really span like a full spectrum, right? And so the reason I brought Celeste on, as her name, was to talk about her career win of getting clarity, right? And so it led me to want to come on and do a live to talk about the critical first step to macro job searching. A lot of people think that a job search should start with, well, let me be specific, a macro job search should start by you asking, what can I do with my degree, or just going to look on a job board to look for a policy job because that's all that you know about from your social work professor. However, inside of the Micro to Macro Career Accelerator, which if you don't know, I have a 3-month group career coaching program where I teach social workers how to identify, apply, and interview for their dream macro social work job in 3 months or less. And that's MSW social workers, Master of Social Work social workers, right? And so the first 30 to 45 days inside of that program, and at this point I'm on cohort 17. It's a highly successful program. I've helped well over 180 social workers make the pivot to macro jobs as a result of coming through that program and going through my curriculum, my frameworks, using my proven strategies, and being coached by me. But the first 30 to 45 days inside of the accelerator is spent on clarity, because the truth is a lot of people think that they are clear about the macro job they want or they don't want, but the reality of it is they're not, because they don't have enough what I call career information, right? So a large percentage of social workers who first find me and discover my work, they usually find me and are like, I want a policy job. However, if they choose to work with me and they come inside of the accelerator and they go through my 3Ps framework, which is a framework I created in my own pivot to macro social work. As of today, I've had well over 4 macro jobs. My last macro job was with one of the oldest think tanks in Washington, D.C., where I worked with mayors and their political team and their administrative leadership teams, helping them design workforce development initiatives and opportunities in their cities for under-resourced populations, right? So I'm not just a social worker who has had a macro job. This is actually my profession, right? My zone of expertise is designing systems, right? Creating more opportunities than barriers for people to get connected to high quality, high paying, high wage jobs. And so when social workers find me, they are usually always like, I want a policy job, right? And so until they enroll in the program and they go through the clarity framework and they realize that policy is just one thing on an exhaustive list of hundreds of other ways that you can do macro level work. And so it's a list that I've compiled over the last 10 plus years of taking my knowledge and knowing how to read the labor market and looking at industries and organizations and really looking from a critical, more strategic lens at where can social workers pivot into other industries, organization types, even professions, based on what type of career seeker we are, right? So I break that down in two categories. In the world of workforce development, we have what we call our universal career seekers, which are people who just want a job, right? There's nothing wrong with that. They're like, I just need a job to pay my bills, provide for myself, provide for my family. However, there is another category of job seeker that I've hence created a name for, which is the mission-driven career seeker, right? Which would be a social worker. And not all social workers, because we're not a monolith, and all social workers are not created the same, right? There are some social workers who are just like, I need a job. I just want a job. I could care less about the people and be connected to it. However, the people that I talk to on a more deeper level want to have some type of connection, meaning, level of impact behind their work, and that's what I categorize as mission-driven career seekers. So when it comes to mission-driven career seekers, what I find, right, if they come to me and they're first like, I just want a policy job, and I take them through my 3 Ps framework where I look at your outside passions, I help you identify and get crystal clear on what you need your day-to-day work to look like so you can start working in your career from an aligned state, right? Because the truth is, a lot of social workers are working in jobs that they hate, right? Or that they are in complete misalignment in. And what I mean by that is, over the last 5 years since I've been on the social work streets doing my work as the MSW coach, I've learned that a lot of social workers are creatives. They like to do DIY projects. They like the arts. They like to bake and cook. They like creative expressions. There's also a subset of social workers who love nature, who are what I call the movers and groovers. They love to network, also known as what I call connectors. They love to meet new people and talk about the thing, right? That's just some examples. And then there's a subset of social workers, which I would consider myself as with my first macro job, who want to be more behind the scenes, where they're like, I don't need to be front and center. However, I do need to be connected to work that is impactful based on what my interests are, right? They want to have meaning. See, Ashley saying she made candles, right? You all are creatives. A lot of you are, not me. Not me. I went to this event Friday night, and which I am going to take me a floral design class, because I said in my retirement days, because I do plan on retiring early, I'm going to become a florist. And me and my baby, we're going to open up us a real like twist on a floral shop. An idea that I came up with like 10, 15 years ago. But we were making a flower bouquet. I looked back at, I was recording myself. I looked at my bouquet and what I ended up doing, just wrapping it up in the tissue paper and put a bow on it. I said right there, you are not a DIY girl. That's not my ministry. I said, just let me buy it finished, okay? And all that other stuff y'all can keep, because maybe that's because I need a hobby. But see, Ashley got me on a tangent. Ashley said I also like to be behind the scenes too, though. Your content/story makes me feel seen. LOL. Thanks, Ashley. Yeah, I realized looking back at that, I said right there, you do not find enjoyment with making the things step by step. But either way, I'm still gonna be a florist. But anyway, so all of you, I say that to say that there's a subset about, in case you are new here, I love to laugh and joke, right? That makes my soul feel good. So there is a subset of the population, which I would consider myself to be, who are like, I want to be more behind the scenes. I want to be more of a supporting actor, right? But in macro roles, the supporting actor is not relegated to like being an admin assistant or a receptionist. The supporting roles are just as important, if not more important, based on the organization like structure and how it's set up and how it's funded. Even more important than the front facing roles, right? I always say with my last macro job, the people that were behind the scenes, they were the the machine, right, behind it all. We were just the face. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have been able to do the things. So I say that to say that there are many social workers who are focused on policy level work when that is not in alignment with who you are as a person. And as much as we want to keep our careers separated from our personal life, until you are in a high wage, high quality job, your job is impacting your personal life, right? So if you're new here, I talk about jobs and how we talk about them in the space of workforce development. There's a difference between a high quality job and a low quality job. There's a difference between a high paying job, a high wage job, and a low wage job, right? And so there is a very distinct difference. What I've known to be true, what I've learned through my own career journey over the last 10, 15, 20 years is that your life shifts drastically between when you have a low wage job and a high wage job, and it impacts your life differently. A low wage job, you go home, you kick the dog, you yell at the cat, you slam the door, you scream at your partner because you are so overworked and you're severely underpaid, and usually you're in a job, this is for my mission driven people, that is not aligned with who you are innately and your deeper desires to be connected to the work. And then a high wage, high quality job, a job where you are in alignment and you're being paid substantially well, right? And you have autonomy and you're working on the work that really like sets you on fire. Your life is completely different, where you come home and you actually can do human-like behaviors instead of with a low wage job. You spend time trying to find multiple side hustles and volunteering to get fulfillment, right? So your job does impact your life. So all of that work-life balance, it really cannot exist when you are not in a high-quality job. So I want to say that. So I say all that to say that the very first critical step to macro job searching is get clear on what do you want. What do you want? What do you need? Because the reality of it is, if you have to work, you have to work. There's no way around that. So my thought is, my philosophy to it all is that you might as well be strategic, be proactive, take the captaincy and decide what you want your career to look and feel like, right? So with the 3Ps framework, I help people get crystal clear on figuring out, right? We do this before we job search. We do this before we talk about what is your experience that qualifies you for such and such job. We do this before you write your resume. We get clear on what type of work you want to do, right? And so with my coaching client that I just wrapped up the podcast episode with, I'm going to release that podcast episode maybe next week or so. So make certain that you are subscribed to my podcast. I'm on Apple Podcasts. I post the video on YouTube, and I'm on Spotify. All of those links are in my bio. Make sure you're connected. But we were talking about her career win of being inside of the accelerator, which was career clarity, right? For her, it was huge, right? And so what it looked like with going through the framework is that she got very clear about the fact that, one, her current career goal was not what she really wanted to do. It's what she was settling on doing, which was taking a clinical route, this could be any aspect of work, but this is her story, right? Which was taking a clinical route and like going to get licensure and all of the things. But after completing the framework, what she received confirmation on is the fact that she has deeper desires to do work around teaching women how to use their voice to tell their stories from like an empowerment place, right? And I'm not doing it any justice. She has developed some clear professional brand messaging around her thing. That's what she learned inside of the accelerator. You have to listen to the episode because she explains it way more better than I do. But as a part of being inside of the accelerator, I also teach them how to tell people what it is that they're interested in from a lens of I am an expert on the thing. And so she is the expert. But she got really clear about what she wanted her work to be. But even more than that, she got clarity from the framework around how she wanted to do it. Right. And so at first she started out, she went through the timeline of my program, which is the first 30 to 45 days clarity, the 45-day to 60-day markets, where I teach you how to go out and find organizations that do the type of work that you say you want to do. I teach you how to job search and find the jobs that actually will allow you to do the work the way you say you want to do it day to day. I also, in that 45 to 60-day mark, teach you how to write your macro resume in a one-on-one resume intensive. I teach you how to write your cover letter, right? And so it was it was somewhere in between like the 45-day mark that she realized, after she started to find these jobs that were like goals, because up until that point she didn't think it was possible. She had always known that she was interested in storytelling, but she didn't think that it was possible to do that within the parameters of a 9-to-5. So much so that she started writing books in her free time, children's books in her free time, to get to meet that internal need of wanting to do work around and some aspect of connected to storytelling, which is true for many social workers. Because you don't believe or know that it's possible to do the thing you really, really want to do, right? You may think of it as like, that's not possible, or that's not safe. I need to go get this type of job. You don't abandon it, right? It may feel like you abandon it. It may appear that way on surface, but what I figured out is that you all don't abandon it. You just go and you create a way to do it in your personal life. So for a lot of social workers, what that looks like is you volunteer, right, for boards, or you volunteer in the community. Like even though your time is extremely limited, you are severely suffering from time poverty, you still volunteer, you still take on all of these extra duties and tasks. You start a lot of things on the side, projects, right? Unfortunately, a lot of it is not monetized, so you're doing it for free because you're trying to get this internal fulfillment. And when I'm like, you could just do that in your 9-to-5, and then in your free time you can do human-like activities. And so she was doing that in her free time. She was writing these children books. So in the 45 to 60-day mark of the accelerator, when I started to teach her how to find these jobs and find these organizations, the first job she found, it was like, oh my gosh, this is really a job. I could really get paid to support women in telling their stories around my issue, right? And I always tell my coaching clients, I remember when I first had that experience, and I love when they have that experience for the first time, because it really truly is a paradigm shift that is critical around shifting your perspective around your job opportunities, right? Until you work with me, you think that there's only one or two ways to do your social work profession or to do your career life, and that's either clinical, non-clinical. And when in reality, when you work with me, you learn that the options are endless. You just need to know what you're looking for and then how to find them. So she found the first job and she realized like, oh my gosh, this job actually exists. I thought it wasn't a thing. I didn't think it was possible. And she realized like it was paid, they were being paid really, really, really well. Right. And so she continued to collect the data. Right. What I teach my coaching clients is that when you are, what my cornerstone is strategic career planning. Anything you hear me talk about is by purpose and design. I'm not flying by the seat of my pants or nothing. And I don't teach my coaching clients that. I teach them how to effectively plan for their next step. Right? That's why I'm always like, you should not wait until your back is up against the wall and you're at the point of no return in your job to start talking about, I want to look for a job. No, you should be moving jobs based on what your plan is. How long did you plan to stay in this position? Okay, we are now quickly approaching that time frame. You should be looking for something else. Not just because it got bad. Okay, so she found the first job. She realized, okay, this is a thing. We're excited. We're celebrating it. Blah, 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 blah. She finds another job because she's in the data. She's collecting the labor market data, the job data, specifically relevant to the type of job she wants. Because what I was saying earlier is that I teach my coaching clients how to move off of facts and not feelings, right? So facts is, what do you find in the actual job market that gives you proof that this position exists, that this scope of work exists. So she's collecting the data. And in order to do that, you have to collect a big enough sample size to understand that this job opportunity, these types of jobs are a real thing. This is what they require as far as education, experience, skills, things like that. This is how much they pay. These are the types of organizations they're connected with. You see, like, this is a lot more than just, is there social work in the job requirement field? Does it say Master of Social Work degree? Right? There's a lot of other check boxes that you have to run through in order to make strategic career decisions, right? Which is all a part of what I'm going to be teaching in my 3-day retreat later this month. But my 3-day career planning retreat that's virtual later this month. So she's collecting her data. She finds another job with another organization. Again, oh my gosh, this really exists. I can do storytelling and build community for women to be empowered, to as a part of like helping to bridge the confidence gap and helping to become stronger leaders, not just in the parameters of a 9-to-5, but in their life as a whole. Oh my gosh, this is a real job, right? So I teach my coaching clients also how to read a job description. I know it sounds like it's something you're supposed to know when you come out the womb, but it's not. Just like anything in life, like we had to be taught how to drive a car, you have to be taught how to job search, how to career plan, how to read a job description, how to do anything else. Just like someone had to teach you how to balance your bank account, you got to be taught how to do these things. So I teach my coaching clients how to effectively read a job description. Again, none of the instruction that I teach them is go down to the requirements section. Does it say Master of Social Work degree? Does it say you need a license? Wrong. That's not how you do it. So I teach her how to read the job description. So she's now finding these jobs on her own. She's now able to assess, does this meet the parameters of what type of job she's looking for? We're not even looking at qualifications at this point. And that's when she realizes and makes a discovery that her work will be better suited outside of the system instead of within the parameters of a 9-to-5 organization. And essentially what happens from there is that she identifies a gap in the existing efforts on a national level regarding women, storytelling, and addressing the confidence gap issue in women. Right? And so from there, she's now designed this whole career around becoming a subject matter expert on her relevant topic because no one else is talking about it from the angle that she's talking about it at. Right? I'm just giving you all the generals. On the episode that I'm going to release, her podcast episode, she's going to give you more specifics. There's no one else talking about it from the angle that she's at. So she schedules her office hours with me because also as a part of working with me inside of the cohort, the Career Accelerator, my program, you get one-on-one office hours with me. You get group contact with the group in a coaching session. You get one-on-one office hours with me, and you get access with our community. This is how I'm bought into the vision once you join the accelerator of getting you into a position where you can increase your impact and really move the needle closer to progress. So she schedules her office hours with me, and she's like, Marthea, I've come to the realization through the career clarity framework that my work should look like this, and it's not going to necessarily be within the confines of a 9-to-5. I'm over the moon because this is what it's all about, right? And so that's why I brought her on the podcast episode to talk about her career clarity, because that's a major win. And then in the next breath, she tells me about how she was currently on the verge of she's been working on licensure, she was going to get it and all of the things, and she's in the final steps. But she's like, I realized that is not what I really want to do. I really want to do this. And all of the conversations I've been having with you inside of the accelerator has really confirmed that. But when I found the jobs and found that it is a thing. So if I did want to be in a 9-to-5, I could. However, I also realized, like, when helping me to identify my non-negotiables, right? I teach my coaching clients how to identify a list of non-negotiables, what you will, what you want in your job, what you don't want in your job. And that's strongly based off of like your historical career information. What did you like from your past jobs? What didn't you like from your past jobs? What would you have wanted? All right, so she's like, based on my non-negotiables, what I'm finding is that these are my words to it, right? What I teach them, her philosophy to doing this work didn't necessarily line up with how organizations wanted it to be done. And so again, she breaks this down in the episode, and that's how she went from, at first, I'm gonna do it in a 9-to-5, to second, I'm not gonna do it in a 9-to-5, because really there's aspects of the work that I don't necessarily agree with or want to be a part of. However, there's other parts of it that really speak to me on a deeper level. And so I say all that to say this, right? That whole process that she went through, that I just walked you all through, was a 90-day process, a 90-plus day process. Ideally, my clients go through the career clarity framework in about 30 to 45 days. But for her, she kept wanting to revisit it because, in her words, she was racing through the process. And so I wanted to come on live to ask you the same question. Are you racing to try to get to a job offer or applying a job, but you've missed the critical first step of career clarity? Getting clear about what it is that you exactly want to do, how you want that work to look and feel, identifying what your non-negotiables are, what you will do, what you won't do, right? And this is more than just, I want a remote job, I want to make XYZ, right? I don't want to be in case management. I don't want to be direct practice. When you are a mission-driven professional, I've given you all an exhaustive list throughout this live about what it is that you should strategically be looking at. Have you done the clarity work to get clear on what those things are? If you haven't, I strongly encourage you to replay this video multiple times, this podcast episode multiple times. Take notes. Yes, you don't have the framework and you don't have me to guide you through the framework, but you still have my guiding questions. These are questions that you need answers to, right? This is why this is the critical first step to macro job searching, is clarity. So you're not building your whole career life and ultimately your personal life around something that you thought was the only option. Right? Have you really exhausted all avenues? Have you really looked at what excites you, what sparks joy in you? If you haven't, I encourage you to do that. Right? And so at the end of the month, from February 28th to March 2nd, I'm having a 3-day virtual career planning retreat where I'm going to be taking you through 3 specific considerations that you need to know about to effectively plan out and map out your next macro career move, be it if this is your first macro job, be it if this is your second or third macro job. And so the first thing that I'm going to be going through is why it's important to effectively know how to analyze the job market. And I'm going to give you some strategies and some tips around that. Right? How to effectively analyze the job market to be able to understand where you can pivot, what opportunities exist in the job market for you as a social worker outside of social service, direct practice, case management work. The second thing I'm going to be teaching you is a few strategies, at least so you can map out a plan, because the tangible takeaway from this retreat will be that you will have a career plan, or at least know how to effectively create one, is how to strategically pivot, right? Because again, to get jobs outside of social work, you're going to need more more than just I'm a social worker, here's my degree, and here are the letters after my name. And that's not me being condescending. This is true. You're going to need more than that. So I'm also going to be walking you through like things that you need to strongly consider in your strategic move outside of case management to pivot into those areas. And then I'm also going to teach you, like, I'm also going to run through like how to effectively position yourself, professional branding. Today in my coaching call with the Micro to Macro Career Accelerator cohort, the current cohort, which is cohort 16, we did a bonus workshop series around messaging, right? Messaging. Are you effectively and clearly explaining to people what it is that you do? Because your ability to clearly convey your brand messaging about who you are, what you do, what you offer, what makes you qualified for the thing is everything. It's the make or break. It determines your ability, one, to assess if you're qualified for a job, to even know if you can apply. Right? A lot of you all just don't apply because it doesn't say social work in it. But because we're talking about jobs outside of social work where there are no social workers, they're not going to have the word social work in a job post. So you need to know how to effectively job match. Do I qualify for this thing? But even bigger than that, does it align with what I say I'm interested in? And that goes back to career clarity. Your messaging also determines how you effectively write your resume. How you effectively illustrate and convey on paper that you are qualified to do this. And I am the unicorn, and you should select me and bring me in for an interview. The truth is, a lot of people's resumes suck. I know you don't want to hear it on this beautiful Sunday evening, but that's the truth, right? But your messaging is important because it helps you. It's a critical piece to knowing how to effectively write your resume. And then also messaging is important in interviews. You have to be able to effectively market yourself to employers when you're in the face-to-face interview. So today in the coaching call, I was taking them through I was teaching them on how to assess their messaging, the strength of their brand messaging. And I had them run through a set of criteria checks that I've created for them. Right? And then I even gave them some homework on how to further test their messaging. So I say all of that to say, like, the retreat this weekend, or it's in 2 weeks. The retreat in 2 weeks is going to be very critical, especially in this day and age. The job market, specifically for social workers, is going to have a lot of ups and downs. And you're going to need a plan. And you're going to need to know how to strategically identify hidden opportunities and all of the changes that will flow down to you. And it's not me trying to be scared tactics. This is me trying to get you to think proactively, right? And so it's going to require that you use a different set of like information, criteria, skills, proven strategies, because the strategy of just looking for social worker in a job description may get you in a situation where you are misaligned or subjecting yourself to moral injury or putting yourself in a situation where you are working on things that you do not agree with as a human and as a professional. Right, so that retreat, will be the end of this month, and the ticket's only $29. I encourage you to purchase it. It's 3 days with me. Each day is a 2-hour session, and you're going to learn about 3 critical areas that you should be looking at when planning your career. And again, this stems way beyond what social work program am I going to go in. Where do I want to do my practicum? What type of license do I want, right? When we're career planning, we're not even talking about those things. That's not even, that's an education plan. You need a career plan in combination with your education plan. So I encourage you to purchase a ticket. The link is in my bio at macroandpaid.com. Purchase your ticket now. Spots are limited, and the sale for the tickets will end soon. Like, the ability for you to purchase them will end soon. It's only $29. Consider that an investment in learning some proven strategies and techniques to really take charge of your career this year and the years to come. I'll just leave it at that. You don't want to be in a position where others are making choices and critical decisions about your career. You want to be in the seats where you have the ability to make choices about your own career. Okay, and so what I mean by that is, don't wait until someone pushes you out of your job and now you got to make a choice. Be proactive and make the necessary choice ahead of time about what you're going to do and when you're going to do it and what it's going to look like. And in order to do that, you need a career plan. Just like anything else in life, you have plans for. You go to the doctor, they have a plan for your visit. When you go to school, they have a plan for what course sequence you're going to take and what courses you're going to take during the semester. When you get in the car, you use your map. You use your GPS, to map out how to get to the next stop. Every other area you have a plan, and your career needs a plan also. All right, this is how you avoid staying in jobs years, way longer than what you intended to, because you didn't have a plan, a clearly identified process of and steps and timelines of when you were going to leave and where you were going to go and what was going to get you there. That's what a career plan does. So I encourage you to purchase your ticket. The link is in the bio. Tell a friend to tell a friend. It's going to be good. Happy macro career planning. Bye.